Okay, good morning, everyone. I have started a new series of classes for BA second semester English core students. Okay, the first term that I'm going to cover is absurd drama or the theater of the absurd. This is under Unit 4, basic terms and themes. Okay, most of our students can understand the things but unable to write and unable to construct the answer, what should be written and what should not be written. So this is a very genuine try for those students who are unable to uh, construct the answer. Okay. So first of all, you need to know what is the or what are the literal meanings of the word absurd. Okay. Insensible, irrational, illogical, ridiculous, idiotic, meaningless, pointless, stupid, unreasonable, inappropriate. These are the alternate terms that we can use for the term absurd. Okay, if we call it asmis, then the words like অযৌক্তিক, উদ্ভট, খেলিমেলি চিন্তাৰ প্ৰতিফলন যেন লগা বা সাধাৰণতে বিশ্বাসযোগ্য যেন নলগা এই পৰিস্থিতিটোক আমি absurd বুলি ক'ব পাৰো. Okay, I think you are getting my point. The term absurd is applied to a number of works in drama and prose fiction. Generally, this particular term has been used in case of drama and prose fiction in literature, which have in common the view that the human condition is essentially absurd and that this condition can be adequately represented only in the works of literature that are themselves absurd. All of us know that the human life does not go or does not run smoothly. Okay? It is a kind of situation that always get changed unpredictably. Okay? So life itself is unpredictable. If life is unpredictable, then how the representation of the life can be very smooth, or how the representation of the life can be very systematic. Okay, so absurdist or the literary persons who are related to absurdism always say that the literature which are absurd in itself can represent the life of a human being very clearly. Okay, because the life of human being is absurd. Okay, Alfred Jarry's 1896 play Ubu Roy can be considered as the earliest example of such absurd drama. It may be a question for you in examination. What is considered to be the first absurd play? It was Ubu Roy. The English translation is Ubu the King. It was written in 1896. The language was French language. Absurdism was influenced by the literary and artistic movements of Dadaism, Expressionism, and Surrealism. This is also very important from examination point of view. What are the important literary and artistic movements that influenced absurdism? So your answer will be Dadaism, Expressionism, and Surrealism. Along with these three, we will have another important literary movement, that is existentialism. These four are influential for absurd literature. Okay, the phrase "the theater of the absurd" was coined by Martin Aslin in 1960 in his book of the same name. This is also very important for you. Who coined this term, the theater of the absurd? This phrase was coined by Martin Aslin. When? 1960. Okay, in which book? The title of the book was The Theatre of the Absurd itself. Modern absurd dramas got influenced by Franz Kafka's fiction, The Trial and Metamorphosis too. In this particular paragraph, we have many questions. Franz Kafka is another important person who wrote The Trial, The Metamorphosis, and many other important works. So his 1920s fictions, The Trial and Metamorphosis, were also a kind of absurd works, and these works influenced the new modern absurdist literary persons. Okay, you have to remember that. Absurdism emerged as a movement in France after the horrors of World War II. This is very important for you. Absurdism emerged as movement in France when after the World War II. Okay, as a rebellion against the basic beliefs and values in traditional culture and literature. Why absurdism came into existence? As a rebellion against basic beliefs and values in traditional culture and literature. The people thought that before the World War II, before the World War, the people started thinking that the life of the human being is very much rational. The human beings are fairly rational creatures living in an intelligible universe, and they are part of ordered social structure, and that they may be capable of heroism and dignity. Who thought that? The people before the World War. But World War came, and World War dismantled everything, destructed the structure of the human life, and the thought process of the human beings after World War have changed. Okay, after the World War, or after 1940s, however, there was a widespread tendency, especially prominent in existentialist philosophy. Why? Because the World War made everything chaotic. After that, the people started thinking that the life is meaningless. Life has no purpose. The life as filled with is filled with nothingness. Okay, so the theory or the concept of existentialism came after the World War. Okay, so existentialist philosophy came into existence. Jean-Paul Sartre and Albert Camus, these two important writers of existentialist philosophy, started telling people that the human beings are isolated existent who is cast into an alien universe to conceive the human world as possessing no inherent truth, value, or meaning. That means they say that the human beings, the life of a human beings, okay, has no inherent truth, no value, or no meaning. And to represent human life in its fruitless search for purpose and significance. The entire life of a human being is only search for purpose and significance in life. Okay, as it moves from the nothingness to nothingness only. Okay, I think you are getting my point. After the World War, people started thinking like this. And before World War, what happened? People started thinking like these. Okay. So this is the change that the World War took into the life of the human beings. Okay. So Albert Camus' The Myth of Sisyphus is most probably the first work where the word absurd has been used for human life. Human life is absurd. Such kind of statement was used for the first time in the work of Albert Camus. The name of the work was The Myth of Sisyphus, written in 1942. In his work, Albert Camus said that in a universe that is suddenly deprived of illusions and of life, man feels stranger. He is an irremediable exile. Okay? To define absurdity, he says that this divorce between man and his life and the actor and his setting truly constitute the feeling of absurdity. The man and his life both are separate. Man thinks something else and life leads him to somewhere else. The actor is going to act on the stage, but the setting of the play is something else. That is, man proposes, God disposes. What man thinks, actually, this does not happen. Okay, so life is a kind of game where the man is divorced from his life. In Myth of Sisyphus, Albert Camus has said these particular things. So, what is absurdity then? Absurdity is the search for futile things, the search of purpose, search of significance, but what he gets? Nothingness, the nothingness. Okay, so coming to some characteristics of absurd literature. First of all, the plays that are written in the form of uh, absurdism or absurd literature do possess pointless dialogues. They are irrational and non-sequential. Repetition is very important. In The Waiting for Godot by Samuel Beckett, we have seen two identical acts. The first act and the second act are almost similar. So, repetition. Our life is also the same. Yesterday is equivalent to the day before yesterday. Okay, and today is like yesterday itself, and tomorrow will also be like the same. Okay, we are repeating the same things again and again. Experimental way of presentation, incoherence, pointless, incoherence, almost similar. Subject matters are hopelessness, existential dilemma in life. So these are the uh, characteristics of absurd literature. Samuel Beckett's 1954 play Waiting for Godot uh, has two identical acts, as I have already mentioned. In this play, we can see nothing happens, nobody comes, nobody goes. It is awful. Nothing happens, nobody comes, nobody goes. It is awful. Our life is also the same. We are in search of something, but we do not find what we are searching for. Okay. Some examples of absurd drama. Albert Camus' The Myth of Sisyphus, 1942. Eugene Ionesco, The Bald Soprano, The Lesson. Samuel Beckett, Waiting for Godot. Endgame, Melon Dies, Unnameable. Harold Pinter's The Birthday Party. These are some important examples of absurd drama. You have to remember all these. Okay. So most of the works are based on hopelessness, irrationality, and existential dilemma in life. Okay, I think you have understood the concept of existential philosophy, concept of absurd drama, and what are the characteristics of absurd drama. Okay, so this particular note was prepared based on a glossary of literary terms by M.H. Abrams and Geoffrey Goldhofer. Now we are heading towards important questions that you will face in examination. The first question for 5 marks may be write a short note on absurd drama, or what is absurdism in literature, or what do you understand by absurdism as literary movement? Discuss with example, or discuss the characteristics of absurd drama. If you find these questions, then you will have to answer the above discussion, whatever we have discussed so far, whatever I have written in the note, you will write everything A to Z. Okay. Question number 2. What can be considered as the first absurd play? I have already told you. Ubu Roy, Ubu the King, 1896. Question number 3. The term absurd was first used in which work? The Myth of Sisyphus, 1942, by Albert Camus. Do you remember that? The term absurd, the Myth of Sisyphus, the theater of the absurd, in the theater of the absurd in 1960. Okay, do remember that. You should not get confused. Who coined the phrase the theater of the absurd? Martin Aslin. In which work did Martin Aslin refer the phrase the theater of the absurd? Answer is the theater of the absurd, 1960. Okay, what literary and artistic movements influence absurdism? I have already told you surrealism, Dadaism, expressionism, and existentialism. Okay, which war motivated the absurdists the most? The Second World War. All of us know that. Name any two existential philosophers, Jean-Paul Sartre and Albert Camus. Okay, how many acts are there in Waiting for Godot? Two acts, two identical acts. The first act and the second act are almost the same. Okay, give some examples of absurd plays. We have already discussed. Okay, you just try to remember. You will find these questions in examination. Nothing happens, nobody comes, nobody goes. It is awful. The sentence gets fit in which play? Waiting for Godot, obviously, 1954. Okay, question number 12. Define absurdism. To answer this question, you just refer to first 2 or 3 lines of the discussion that we have done above. Okay, I think you have got what absurd literature is. Thank you very much.